you hear me?
Mr. Manager?
Yes.
I think an
Okay.
introduction was due.
Yeah, I was going to go through that right
Oh.
now, sir.
Okay, so I'll turn it over to the manager, who will turn it over and kind of give us an idea of what the agenda is or the
Right.
protocol for this evening.
So, thank you, Madam Vice Chair, or Vice Mayor, excuse me. Today is our, as we've always done, our public workshop. The purpose of the workshop is really for us to go through some of the high-level assumptions that we're using to prepare the budget for you, but more importantly, to get feedback, preliminary feedback from the council on priorities, budgetary priorities, so that we can finish assembling the final first draft of the budget. Per the communication that I sent to you a day or two ago, after tonight's hearing, we will take those assumptions, finalize the budget, and have a detailed budget book presented to each of you by July 31st. And then, as you approved last night, our first and second budget hearings will be September the 3rd and September the 17th. This is Rosalind Morgan, our budget director. Consistent with the memo that I sent a day or two ago, she's going to walk you through some of the high-level assumptions that we've already started using. She'll talk through some of the operating reductions we're recommending internally, and kind of give you a sense of where we are. But as of right now, we do have a balanced budget plan, if you will.
Just if you allow me, Madam Vice Mayor and Mr. Mayor. So just the process. No, I understand. Yeah, so that's why I want to understand the process. So the process is really presentation by Ms. Morgan and question and answer Q&A from us to you guys.
Correct. Or really not some
just-
Q&A
yeah,
or
clarification or
just
direction.
straight direction.
Okay,
I
got
want
it.
this included. I want you guys to include this, that,
Kind of,
and
okay.
so
And then
that we can continue finalizing the
Since
budget.
we will be on vacation, would you be emailing this
Yes,
to
I
us?
will do two things. I will send it electronically. I will also hand deliver a copy as well, and it will be made
Because
available to
I
the
remember
public.
last year we had issues.
And we don't have that this year.
Okay, all right.
We're
Not
way-
Saturday delivery.
We're way in
If
advance
it's the
right now.
31st, I'm just trying because I'm not going. I don't plan to be here in the country, so I'm just trying to figure out what do I need to do to make sure that I receive it and just at least have access to it.
Okay, I'll make
All
sure
right,
you have
thank
it.
you.
And like I said, we will, like we did with the presentation, we're trying to be more transparent with the public, and so we made it. The presentation's already on the website, so it was there. We posted it day
So-
before yesterday.
I did receive some constituent regular input, but this is not a public.
No,
got
no,
it.
it's
Okay,
not a public
just so
hearing.
we know
This
and they
is
all know.
just
Got it.
So we
Thank
can
you.
give you the high-level presentation, get some feedback from you, and continue
you.
working on the budget. So
The
with that,
residents don't get to talk,
no, not for this one.
but you didn't tell them that. They didn't know. They didn't
This
know.
is the same way. This is
We thought it's
procedurally
like
the
a
same.
workshop where people can, you
I
want
mean-
the feedback from us, from the audience,
If you
about the budget.
if
Yeah.
you want to allow for them to make comment, that's fine with me.
I would
but-
prefer that
Okay.
because myself, if I have an issue, I can address that with you and put it in the
Okay.
budget.
That's perfectly
I
fine.
think what we are doing is to allow them to tell us what they would like to see in our budget,
Okay.
and so we can take that
Let
in
me-
consideration, whether we agree or not. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Well, the only thing that I would have, I told them not to come because I did not know that they would be talking, and I did receive some stuff in writing.
Okay.
So, and I see mostly staff here with maybe 4 or 5 residents. So I'm just saying
Okay.
it because I don't know if it's fair to other people who would
No,
have
I
been
just
here.
okay. No,
I'm just saying. I
just
don't
thought-
mind, but that's
and
fine.
let me add to that. If we are open to receiving electronic communication, if people want to send that, I've had some things already shared with me from some constituents about things that they'd like to see in the budget. But those will be things I talk to you individually about as we finalize the process.
But if it's that case, we didn't have to call it public meetings,
No.
workshop, where I
Sir,
could just...
it has to be a public meeting for you all to have a discussion
Discussion
about
about
this because
the-
of sunshine. And the other thing is,
No, I'm not talking about with council member. I'm talking about with the administration.
right,
Yes.
but you were saying why would you notice it for the public?
Oh, no, not for us. I'm talking about a budget workshop. I thought it was for the public to...
No, so let me ask, I'm just ask the manager because I don't know. How was this noticed? What notice was given to the public about this meeting?
It was posted on our website that we're having a budget workshop like we always do.
Okay, so it was not, so I'm concerned about what Councilman Deslame just said. We're creating an issue for ourselves if we told the public that we weren't entertaining comments from the public, and now we're entertaining comments from the public. There are probably individuals who did not come to this meeting tonight because they felt they weren't gonna make comments, and so you're creating a liability for the city. So that's the only issue that I have. I mean, if we're gonna do a public meeting, then we should notice it as a
Close it.
public meeting. If we did it last year where the public didn't speak, and that's the way we're proceeding, we probably should not allow people to speak today, because anyone who did not show up tonight is gonna have an issue with not being able
But
to be here.
I understand that, but there's another issue. What about to those who's here tonight thinking that based on
They wouldn't have been.
the notice you did not specify they will not be allowed to talk?
No,
The
we know,
notice-
but we never.
What the notice?
The notice states North Miami residents are invited to observe a workshop discussion between the
Okay.
mayor, council, and city staff about the development and priorities of the city of North Miami's fiscal year 2019-2020 preliminary budget.
Okay, thank you. I did not know that. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Yeah.
Clerk. The floor is yours, Rosalind.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Okay. As the manager said, that we're here to discuss the 2020 budget. And the topics for discussion tonight.
Is your mic open, please? Your mic.
I'm sorry?
Your mic. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay. All right. The topics for discussion tonight include the 2020 budget timeline, millage rates, ad valorem tax revenues, and other general fund revenues, the preliminary general fund budget, and the recommended increases to sanitation and stormwater rates, 2020 budget highlights, and finally, your budget priorities. And here's the budget timeline for development of the budget. June 1st, we received the preliminary tax roll from the property appraiser. July 1st, we received the certified tax roll, and we incorporated those revenues into the budget. On last night, you set the tentative millage rate at 7.5, and tonight is the budget workshop. And no later than August 4th, we will be sending the property appraiser information on our tentative millage rate and budget hearing dates. On August 24th, tax notices are sent to homeowners, and that notice includes the budget hearing date. On September 3rd, we'll hold our first budget hearing. At that time, you'll adopt the tentative millage rate. And on the second budget hearing, you will finally, on September 17th, we'll hold our second budget hearing, and you'll adopt the millage rate and the 2020 budget. Okay. This chart provides information on taxable values, millage rates, and property taxes. Since 2016, property tax values have improved by 41%. Property tax revenues are expected to increase by $2.5 million, or 11% in 2020. The majority of this growth is included in the city's community redevelopment area. As a result of the city's contribution to the community redevelopment area, the transfer to the CRA will increase from $3.9 million to $5.3 million, a $1.3 million plus a jump. This growth does not include Solomia and Costco Construction, which did not have certificates of occupancy as of January 1, 2019. The city's millage rate has remained constant since 2016, which means that property tax revenues have increased each year due to increased property values. This next chart compares our current millage rate to a rollback rate of 6.934. Again, the current millage rate of 7.5 generates $2.5 million in gross property tax revenue than in the previous year. A rollback rate, of course, of 6.934 reduces our property tax revenue by $1.7 million. And the rollback is a rate that will generate about the same amount of property tax revenues as approved in the prior year. Okay. And this chart is a 5-year comparison of our revenues from 2016 to 2017. And I'll just briefly go into the increases from the 2019 adopted budget to the 2020 preliminary budget. Ad valorem taxes, again, are expected to increase by 11%. Licenses and permits will increase by 44% due to increased permitting fees for new construction, including Solomia and the University of Miami Medical Facility. Intergovernmental revenues will increase primarily due to $325,000 in sales tax revenue from the state and another $209,000 in local government half-cent sales tax. The 40% increase in charges for services is due to a recommended rate increase in sanitation fees, which will generate about $1 million, and we'll talk about that later. For fines and forfeitures, the 2019 adopted budget inadvertently double counted some code compliance revenues by a little over $300,000. So when we adjust that number, the decrease is actually the decrease was actually $50,000, and that was due primarily to a reduction in building permit penalties. The 55% increase in miscellaneous revenues is due to $1.8 million in additional franchise fees identified during an audit of WastePro. During an audit of WastePro and revenue from the Biscayne Landing lease. The audit of WastePro covered a 3-year period from 2016 to 2018. Non-revenues are being reduced because there is no rollover from the prior year. And the next slide basically is a graph of those revenues over a 5-year period. And you can see that how our ad valorem taxes have grown and how we've had the ups and downs in the other revenues. Oh, sorry. That's the graph. Sorry about that. And again, this shows how our ad valorem taxes have grown and the shifts in other revenues. The next slide is another 5-year comparison of our expenditures. Okay, on our salaries, and I'll briefly give you some explanations for those. The salaries are increasing primarily due to a $1.6 million increase by the police department, and that includes additional positions, overtime, merit increases, and the 2% COLA. Citywide pension costs will decrease by $1.4 million in next year. This includes a $1.1 million savings to the general fund. The health insurance savings is due to reduced premiums. In 2019, the higher premium amount was budgeted because the contract with the vendor was approved after the budget was adopted. So we are realizing some savings in the 2019 budget of about $250,000, as well as in 2020, and that amounts to about $343,000. Worker comp expenses. These are the interfund transfers to our risk management division for its operating expenses. And the reason why that is going up is because their reserves are down a bit. So when your reserves are down, then we have to up the amount of transfer to from the departments. Did I? Oh. Okay. And that's, again, here's another graph, another 5-year graph that compares the actual expenditures with our preliminary budget. Okay. This next slide is another 5-year comparison, and it's by department. Okay, it's by department, and the comparison is from the adopted budget for this year and the preliminary budget for next year. And basically, the numbers in red, those are required, either 100% or a portion thereof of required reductions that must be made by the department in order for us to get to a balanced budget. Okay. And there's another comparison by department. So that starting with the mayor, council, and ending with the purchasing department, that gives you an idea of where the money's going. Okay. Next are our sanitation fees that I want to discuss. We are, if you take a look at the two charts, right now we pay Waste Pro a total of $356.68 per year per customer. Okay, the customer pays $254.40. Okay, that's a difference of $102.48 that the city pays on behalf of the customers. That equates to $1 million a year. Okay. Residents.
Sorry, Ms. Morgan.
Sure.
So that number is 1,027,000.
27,000.
I see it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's 10,000 customers times the 102.48. Okay. Now, the residents receive twice per week garbage pickup, weekly bulky trash pickup, and also recycling for that $356.88. But they only pay $254.40. The $1 million subsidy paid to Waste Pro has contributed to the city's financial deficit, and I want to make that clear. It has contributed to the city's financial deficit for the last 3 years. Okay? If you do the math, over a 3-year period, that equates to $3.1 million, which represents 38% of the deficit. And I think that okay. We are recommending the monthly sanitation rate be increased by $8.54 from $21.20 to $29.74. The increase averages 28 cents per day. And if you look at the chart above, on the second chart, the cost per day is 98 cents. Cost per month, $29.74. Cost per quarter, $89.22. And finally, the cost per year is $356.88. The next slide is on stormwater utility. We're also recommending an increase of approximately $39 per year for our stormwater fee, and that's to fund critically needed stormwater improvements in the city. Okay, the recommended increase includes $1 million in revenue, which will be dedicated solely to stormwater capital projects. And this increase, we have incorporated this increase into the preliminary budget. This $1 million? Yes. Okay. And again, this $1 million will fund critical projects in all council districts.
Just to make one point on that, keep in mind stormwater is in an enterprise fund, so this doesn't have a general fund impact. Right. This is literally our infrastructure. related to our infrastructure.
Okay. Current stormwater revenues, right now, we're not able to do any capital projects with the stormwater revenues that come in. The current revenue basically funds operating expenses, maintenance, and any repairs to the existing system, and any support activities. Okay. This increase will allow the city to leverage that $1 million and secure additional revenue through grants. So we could potentially increase that $1 million by 25 to 50% by getting additional grants. Okay, which would give us more money to make more improvements. Okay, and this is a chart of, this was the 2012 master plan study that was done of our stormwater system, which basically, this was done, in 2012. And it basically states that we need to make $58 million in improvements over a 50-year period. This equates to about $1.16 million a year, which is what we're requesting to do. Okay. Also, before we want to make sure that we have the correct number. So, and that increase is based on ERUs, or equivalent residential units. So we want to make sure that we're working with the right number. So, and we believe we are, but what we'll do, we'll revisit it, and we will make any adjustments as needed before the first budget hearing. Okay, and budget highlights. Okay. State law requires the city to prepare a balanced budget so that revenues and any prior year surplus are equal to expenditures. As the budget director, that is my job. So therefore, what we've done, we have incorporated $8.6 million in reductions into the budget to bring us in line with the revenues that we have. These reductions include an across-the-board hiring freeze, which equals $2.6 million, elimination of 16 part-time parks and recreation positions for $300,000, some other reductions of $158,000, and finally $5.6 million in reductions that will be identified by the department. We will start meeting with departments on tomorrow, and they will be given a number, and they have to bring us back a plan that gets to that number, or else we won't balance the budget. But we'll get there. The fiscal year, the 2020 budget also includes $5 million in reserves as required by ordinance. And we've also set aside another $1 million in reserve, which we're going to dedicate to reducing the deficit, and we will do that each year. And $254,000 for the 2020 census. Our overall pension costs will decrease by $1.4 million in 2020. This includes a $1.1 million savings to the general fund. And again, as I stated, the $1 million in stormwater increase has been incorporated into the budget. The 2016 capital financing plan for the city's water and sewer facility, completed by a consultant in 2016, is being updated. And we will also be recommending an increase in water and sewer rates. What we want to complete, we want the consultant to complete the study. Yeah. It's water and sewer. Okay. Yeah. We want we'd like the consultant to update the study so that we can make sure that we're working with accurate numbers. And we will come back to you in January of 2020. Oh, sorry. Okay. And we will come back to you in January 2020 and present you with our recommendations. And finally, for my presentation, I just want to sort of summarize the two the two increases that we're recommending now, and that is the sanitation increase and the stormwater increase. And again, you see that for both increases, that equates to 39 cents a day, $11.81 a month, $35.42 a quarter, and $141.61 a year. And that's what we're recommending. And now we'll be discussing your priorities, and thank you.
It's whoever wanna talk. Yeah,
Well,
it's
Scott not here.
it's not
Madam
in
Vice
order.
Mayor, you want to go first, or you?
Yeah, where's Councilman Galvin? I think we should all be here so we can hear what,
He's somewhere around. He probably think.
I have a question for our budget director, Ms. Morgan. We're proposing to increase the stormwater 3919. Can you tell me what the total will be after the increase, please?
Yeah, it'll be close to about $4 million.
This-
For the stormwater?
The annual stormwater?
Yes.
The new number would be $113.47.
Okay.
Here, this is the total amount.
Where's Scott?
They said he just walked in. Someone.
Huh?
Rosie said he just walked in. I mean, I have a couple of, but she said it's good. We wait for Councilman Galvin. Go. You just. Do we go or? like, okay.
I mean, okay,
The total
I
amount
have
You
a
should go.
list.
The total revenue is
I'm sorry.
$4 million.
No, I meant per household, the stormwater,
Oh, okay.
11347.
Okay.
I know we need it, and I was wondering how it compared to the county. Do you know what the county stormwater is?
No.
I've tried to look it up.
It's 469.
Oh.
It's 469.
Couldn't find it on
county.
any tax bills, and it's billed separately, so I was just,
We're talking about stormwater and sanitation.
no,
From the
just storm,
county.
the county bills the stormwater separate from the taxes. I was just wondering if we had that figure, just for comparison.
Hello? Okay.
There you are.
Yes, according to the FSA Stormwater Utility Report from 2018, Miami-Dade County, the rate is $4.
$4 what? What's the annual cost of stormwater in the county?
That would be that's their ERU, their equivalent residential unit.
That's
So is
$4
that-
per month, right? Or is
No, it's not a monthly rate.
It's for you. They got 2 million people.
It's gotta be
There-
at least $66, $70, but I was just wondering, because I can't find it.
Yeah, I don't have that information. I only
Okay.
have their ERU rate.
I'd like to
We'll convert it for you.
yeah, I'd like
We'll
to-
convert it.
find what that is. Okay, you want me to start?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, if you're allowed, I'll.
I
go
have,
next.
I have some requests for the budget. I have some requests that will not make a lot of people up here happy, but I tried to do this last year. I see for some reason, and this is in my own department, everybody else is scrimping on their department, and for some reason I see that the mayor and council went up about $300,000 increase for the budget.
That's really, so on that line item,
Mhm.
it's not really an increase. We shifted
You should-
the discretionaries from the non-departmental into to the office budget. So it's
Okay.
not an increase.
Okay, thank you. So, okay. I would like to see more detailed income revenue sources, not just per department. I noticed last year when I did go back to look at the budget, I was like, I noticed that I hadn't really seen where all the money was coming from. We've made estimates. I've always relied on the departments. They say they're gonna have $1 million here and $1 million there. I would like I think our we've always, and I've always for the last 15 years, looked at the expenses and really expenses, but I also want to see where we're showing we have the income. So I want to make sure that we do have the income. So that's something I would like to see in our budget. I would also like a little breakdown so we see what is non-reoccurring revenue sources. I know in the past, we used some non-recurring revenue for a budget, and then after that wasn't reoccurring, we didn't have it again. We'd already raised our budget because we had assumed we had that money. So I would like that non-reoccurring revenue to be broken down. I believe we're doing this, but I'd like to see in our budget a line item for general fund deficit reduction. So I know that we're putting a lot of our income, instead of spending it, we are going to apply it towards the deficit. So I'm looking for a line item there.
So if I can address that real quickly, we're budgeting for the $1 million to address the deficit. It'll be in the non-departmental area in the budget. So we'll break it out, but it's kind of it's included with the reserve number.
Okay, so it should be a deficit reduction, not something that we can turn around and spend afterwards.
Correct.
Something petty, I brought this up last year. We each, council, we have 2 full-time aides in our office. We also have the mayor's aide who always helps with everybody else's. We have 29 hours. I think we could save about between $40,000 and $50,000 if we each took or shaved $9 off the our aides. I don't know why we really need 29 hours a week. And I know Council Galvin says he doesn't need an aide. So I'd like to see that. I mean, if we're trying to shave some money, I'd like to shave some money there. Something very important to me that I requested last year, and something I was under a misconception, and I know our the residents want it. I would like to reduce our discretionary fund. I'd go down to 20, but I would like to reduce our discretionary, that $50,000 number, by at least half. And I would like it to be used for capital projects or tangible assets. We have 2 different discretionary funds. We have a 50 and we have a 7,000. If the 50 was meant to just be giving away, using it for events, using it for not for profits, all types of adding it to whatever, churches, whatever, then it should have all been lumped together. When we first decided on this about 3 years ago, the mayor wanted to do capital improvements to the city. I was all for that. So I think that discretionary, that big number, needs to be for capital improvements. You need sidewalks, landscaping, someone needs a light. You really need to put some brick and mortar in our city. That's great, and I think we should be able to do that. But that 50, we should not be borrowing from that discretionary to be giving away to people. This is the taxpayers' money. And I look at the numbers, and we are just really giving away too much. I'm sorry. So I would like to see that whatever we put in the discretionary, in that chunk, be for tangible. And we did discuss, and I'm going to bring it back up in case we want to have it for a discussion, that anything we spend over $5,000 in our discretionary can go to council vote. It's not our money. It's ours to use for our districts, but I think we should kind of get our blessing if it's over 5,000. It's something to think about.
Repeat it again.
So we have a discretionary of whatever amount we decide on our discretionary. If we're going to spend more than 5,000, it's a 5,000 landscaping, it's 5,000 for street improvements, 5,000 for a piece of art. I've done tiki huts, things like that. If it's going to be more than 5,000, then I think the rest of the council should have the ability. It is taxpayer dollar. It's not our personal slush fund. It's not ours to just dole out like we see fit. And it's my recommendation. I'd like to see the clerk outreach number go down considerably. Looking at that, tremendous amount of money went out to radios, individual people. I don't think we need to do that. And this is a time that we can do that. Something I see you have a plan. We do need new sewers. So and I know we've got money coming in for stormwater, but I would really like to see our city, and I don't know if this can be budgeted, probably not, but I think it's time that we look at our sewers. They're really old, and I think we need a sewage replacement. We didn't get that in the infrastructure bond, so it's something we're gonna have to look at and find where we're gonna get that money. Another minor thing, last year I asked to reduce the turkey drive from 30,000 down to 10,000. I still think if the council would get together, and this is another plea, I would like the council to work together. Let's do our events together. We're one city. And we don't need 4 or 5 turkey drives. We don't need, during a cultural month, we don't need 5 different parties by 5 different councils. I'd love to see us work together. I know Councilwoman Irvin asked to join me in my Hispanic heritage, and I welcome that. I would like us all to do things together. I've been asking for 4 or 5 years, let's put the turkey drive to 1. We would save so much in parks and time and effort, and I think we have to start consolidating our events because we're way over on that. And I think if we would collaborate and all do things together, it would be nicer and we would save money. Most importantly, we're going to have a budget this year. I think we've gone over budget. I know we've gone over budget. Whatever the budget is, whatever we agree to, that's fine. You go for this budget. But when you hit your budget, that's it. And I would like our manager and our budget director, if I ask for something, or if someone says, I'm going to go spend this money, it needs to be budgeted. And I've been asking every time we get something on the agenda, is this in our budget? When we reach our budget, that's it. I don't know where else we think we're going to get the money. That's why we're running over. We've got to, you get your allowance, you spend it in the first 2 months, or you roll it over. But we have to have that, and I would like, and I know the manager wants direction from the council, but I'm giving my manager direction. If I'm over budget, I want to know and say no. I'll spend what I'm allowed to spend or save it. Lastly, our manager has guidelines for the not-for-profit organizations. We have a few organizations. We have a few organizations with the CBO, with federal funds. We have a few not-for-profits that they have to jump through hoops like crazy. They have to be audited. We scrutinize. We spend hours. Should we give 10 to this one? Well, let's give another 3,000. We really spend, and we vet these organizations, and it's really hard. You have no idea. Every day I come to my desk, and I've got a church or a station or a party or an event, and this one's asking for money, and this one's asking for money, and it's really hard, but we do have guidelines. And I think the manager gave them to us, and I don't think we've officially approved them. I know the manager is trying to implement it, but we can't just be giving to all these charities. It's not our money. We can't just pick and choose. I like that church, I like that synagogue, I like this group, this organization. This is the taxpayers' money, and I want guidelines for how we're going to do it. We don't need to give thousands to this church and thousands to that. And basically that's it. I want, whatever our budget is, I want to keep to it. And I would like us to be a little bit more frugal with our spending. Thank you.
Anybody who wishes to speak?
I mean, I have a laundry list of things, Mr. Mayor. You want to go first? It's a little unfortunate that I hear my colleague, things that we discussed it at a retreat that are being here, because I didn't know that was the purpose, because going through this, the purpose of this was that. However, let me just share some of my highlights and give some of my recommendations. First of all, you have a council here. We may all represent one city, but we don't represent the same district. So you have different needs from one side to the other of the city. And folks like to talk about we are united, this and this and that. There's a line of respect that comes to both. Some things that may work for one particular commissioner or council person may not work for another person. And I think that needs to be respected, overall. I do not go and tell someone how to run their staff or, the council aide may work for one person, may not work for the other. If the discretionary money is, which something I fully support, is something that is allocated, each council person has the right to disperse that money how they see fit their particular budget. There are some folks here who have tons of money. That's good for them. There's some, in my case, who have none. So I do not think it's for somebody to go and questioning someone how they spent it, because there's nothing improper about it, because I disperse or give money to organizations that I see that serve my constituents, because there's a lot of programs or different services that the city does not cover. So I do give to certain churches and certain that may be prevent to one community to not. New York City, which is a much larger with millions and millions of folks, cities across the U.S. have discretionary funds. Their discretionary funds is 66 million, but they got 100 and something commissioners, various city. This idea came 3 years ago, and I welcomed it. It's something that that I'm in favor of. If someone want to donate their money, want to do sidewalk in their area, I'm all for it, and I would never stand in anybody's way if it's come to a vote that you want to spend all your money on sidewalk to say not to. We all have that. If you want to give some to me, we will take it as well. I will definitely go for that. But looking at this budget, there was a lot of things on this workshop, what was presented. There's a lot of things I feel that we as commissioners could be giving direction to, as opposed to going after one department, because everything that was talked about was about the council meeting, was about the council office, which I do not mind. And Mr. Manager, I've never done this, but hey, since everything is on the table, that's fine. We could sit when it's budget time, we go over departments and departments, because one commissioner might have one idea of how to cut. My ideas is totally different. I do not see that the events which I receive emails and stuff about, I don't have issues with them, and my folks do not have issues with them. So if you do, I understand that. I respectively do that. Do not bring it up to me as far as what I do in my particular district respectively. However, if you want to talk about the bulk of the money of the budget, because I do see some concerns here that I have that are asking my constituents to pay a little bit more, and we could have that conversation. Because obviously, Ms. Morgan mentioned $3 million that was cut out. It's because basically based on us not collecting. So there's ways we have that. I do not like the $8 million deficit that we are. I do have some ideas, and that's what I would like to go over with my presentation of I think it was the last slide, Ms. Morgan, you had mentioned. I do not mind, the constituent has to know, and I'm very for social service, as you know, Mr. Manager, because we really, the reality is, once you pass Biscayne Boulevard, you are in really two different cities. There are some folks on my side who really, I'm constantly calling, either sending emails to the water department, this person cutting water, trying to help them out as much as we can. I understand that, but we have to do what we have to do now that the reality is on paper. We could have that conversation. We need to look at how we're gonna accumulate the amount of money. I believe it's $1.1 million that Ms. Morgan mentioned from the water sewer fee. Is that the stormwater fee? And the other $39 is from what fund is that?
Solid waste.
The solid waste. Yeah. And then I also heard that there will be a proposal that will be coming in January.
Yes.
With more money. So the red flag to me was the residents. How do we, by looking at this department, one thing I saw that I did not really like from the get-go, I saw that we have all of these money that the residents have to pay. I didn't say anything. At the same time, the staffing went up. So that's a concern for me. I do understand. Well, let me review, and then you could correct me because I'm not in budget.
No. What I wanted to say was, because if you've seen the highlights, we're talking about a hiring freeze, cutting some staffing.
No, I
and
know,
additional
but
cuts.
this is what I'm talking about. The general fund on page 8, that the slide Ms. Morgan has, from the time I got here, we constantly, on the salaries, been going up. And in fact, we are increasing 1.9 million this year.
Yeah,
So
that's
all of
not
those
new
folks,
staff. That's not new staff.
No, I didn't say it was new.
Okay.
I never said that.
Okay.
Because I did understand, and I'm going to talk about the freeze that we talked about. So my concern, and all of y'all outside with these discretionary fund and all of these events, talk about the real thing. So we need to, because the issue that I have, and I just came off the street, and you know what I mean, knocking on doors. The issue that I have is the people who are out there, the constituent that we serve, they don't really get the connection with the city. So obviously, whatever the staff is doing, we need to change the culture where it's aligned more. I don't have any issues with folks working and this and that, but the resident has to be first. So I have a sense that it's not there. So when I saw in 2017, we were 24 million. And I understand COLA and all these things added up. 2018, it remained 24 million. Last year, it was 27 million. And then this year's 29 million. So right there, that's a line item that I'm looking at. What do we need to do? I'm on page 8, Mr. Mayor. What we need to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You run your shop, Mr. Manager, and
Can I
you
say
understand?
one thing on
yes,
that?
Sir.
When you will likely see, and I think where you're going is, we need to look at reductions in that area, or shifting of those resources, I guess is a better way to say it.
I think shifting.
So when we go through when we get with the departments and start going department by department to achieve the cuts that we have in the high level, you will see that shift will be there.
Okay, because that's where, from the cut that Ms. Morgan mentioned, the 1.1, and I guess the other 39 will be $1 million, so that's 2.2 million.
2 million,
correct?
one in the enterprise.
So less than 3 million, 2.5, let's say.
One in the enterprise fund, though.
Yes, and then 1.1 from the stormwater.
For the sanitation.
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 So, based on what she said, I'm here to protect the residents as well as the employee. That 2.5, that's my concern. And we could look at, if we eliminating stuff in the council office, I don't mind. We could have those conversations everywhere. Shifting, I like to say. But we need to make it work. That I would like to see what we could do from, I don't know how we get that number down, that 29 million. And then I don't think, because we only talked about the Parks and Rec staff, the 300,000 for the elimination of the part-time, that's all fine and dandy, but I also need some other folks on there. It should not only be the part-time.
There'll be other reductions.
Okay.
That's in that number, that big number, the 5.6 million reduction from the departments.
But is that part of the let me ask you, Ms. Morgan, is the 5.6 million already included in?
It is reflected in this number.
Which
but
number?
It's not by department. So on page 8, the 70,196,788.
So the 5 million is already in there.
The 5 million in reductions is in there, but it's not necessarily in the right bucket.
In the right box.
Yes.
Okay. Which I get what you're saying. If we, this is just where I'm going. So you're working with 5.6 million. How do we get that? If the 5.6 million plus 2.5 is about 7.5. Because you're increasing rates.
But keep in mind, even with that rate increase, $1 million plus of it is not coming to the general fund. It's in the enterprise fund, and it can only be used for stormwater.
Okay, so
capital
let's
activity.
not talk about
So
that.
not that
So
million, yeah.
1.1 plus the 5.6, so 6
6
point
million,
something.
yeah.
So I would be comfortable if the 6 point something, where, because I don't see how we hit the residents with 3 impact, with 3 fees. And then we still, and nothing changed. So if we're gonna do something, and I'm not sure what that fee will be, how comfortable we would, because it's hard out there. I mean, I know the economy working for some, but not for all. It's really, really hard. And we have to come up with this money. So I would ask you and Ms. Morgan if could be very creative on shifting a lot. A lot. I mean, hey, the council office, and you know what? If we need to look at everything,
We are.
you know, and that's fine. I would like to. My goal would be to hit the residents with, okay, we got to increase your thing in January, or maybe that $39. I could see the 39, pass the 39 to them, and then maybe in January, because I'm not even comfortable with that, but. All that, no, I'm not really too comfortable with
All
that.
things will be listening and working with you for the rest of the process.
Okay.
To figure out.
Because also, my last point, when I looked at the department, per department, there are some that's way up there, but it's really, it's a little bit hard to understand. So I'll just wait and see other council people. Thank you.
Scott, man,
Quick, the 3 places, obviously. The 3 places, we made this, I stated this in my council, the workshop that we had, the retreat. The 3 places I'll look to see us making an investment in our city, not limited to, but including these 3 things: affordable housing, sea level rise, and the Solomia Park. So I hope that your budget will include fees in that direction. And thank you.
I'm sorry, Councilman, you just remind me of something. You did ask for priorities, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, and Councilman Galvin just kind of remind me that I'm afraid now of even putting out something because of what I'm asking y'all to do.
Well,
with
we
this,
can,
because this is,
keep in mind, this is just the first workshop. I make a commitment to work with you via face-to-face meetings, email, whatever those ideas are, get them to me. So by the time we get to July 31st,
okay,
we will have incorporated all of those things into the budget document that we provide you with.
And I think I supported what he was saying, but I remember I had some stuff. I don't really. I know social service is one.
And that's,
you
that's
have
the other
those.
thing. I still do have your priorities that you
Okay, that's what
provided me
those
from the
same
retreat.
priorities.
I still have all that
And
stuff.
if for the audience if you have them, Mr. Manager, for the audience, if you could, somebody have them, it'll be good so that they'll know that what is it on the record. I know it was the social service.
Social services was everybody's kind of general
Yeah,
priority.
general, yes.
Affordable housing was
Affordable,
everybody's general
But I had,
priority. What was it? Infrastructure was the other one. So the sewers and was another general priority.
climate change, like all resilient.
The resilience and the resiliency was the fourth. Those are like
Sea
the
level
4 big
rise.
themes that we had from each of you.
I'm talking about mine.
Yeah, no,
oh,
yours.
okay.
You had the social services. You had the
You
affordable
know-
housing.
No,
It's all written
no,
down.
I didn't have that. I know he had that. But okay, we'll get it. But
Okay.
somewhere around there. Thank you.
All right.
So, like has been mentioned already, affordable housing is big for me. Our Cagney Park, the completion of our Cagney Park is really huge. Improving the West Dixie corridor, I mentioned that so many times so that we can attract economic development on our commercial corridors, starting with West Dixie. I'm sorry?
Cagney Park.
Right, so Cagney Park, affordable housing, improving West Dixie Corridor in particular. And I think those were my major priorities. Anything else? Oh, yeah, those are my major priorities for this fiscal year as well.
We all set? I have a question for Madam Budget Director. Based on this book, the manager just stated that you can present a balanced budget based on those numbers.
The numbers here,
Mm-hmm.
the budget is balanced. With
Okay.
the budget is balanced with those reductions already incorporated.
If the reduction is not over the $8.3 million deficit from the previous year,
No.
how will you be able to balance the budget with that deficit carryover expense?
So there's no, and we have to separate the operations from the budget process. And I know I'm always preaching that. From the deficit, that is the results of our operations. That's the negative $8 million number. We're preparing a budget that has to be balanced because of statute, but incorporated in the, I guess, our expenditures, if you will. We are setting aside the $5 million that we have to set aside by our own ordinance, plus an additional $1 million to end operations, so we can actually deposit that additional money into against the deficit of operations, or into our reserve, to not be touched, not to be used, not to be rolled over, but to start bringing that number down.
Okay. In order to balance the budget, you predict that tax revenue going to be increased by 44%, right?
Which revenue?
Avalon.
Not Avalon.
No, I think.
Tax increase, you say. Tax revenue increase will be increased by 44%.
Oh, you're talking about the licenses and permits?
Yes, you said it's going to be a total of 44%, and you specify Solemia and the UM project.
Oh,
Right.
no, that's licenses and permits.
Yes, because those are building permits.
And what page are we? You
That's
made
on page
to
six.
specify, page
Yeah.
6, okay.
Those are building permit
Right.
fees.
For licenses and permits, right?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
You think the increase gonna be $2.1 million this year?
Yes, because keep in mind, you've got the University of Miami Medical Facility. That's gonna start they're gonna start on that next year. And there's also the continued construction of Solomia.
Okay,
Yeah, and those are based on my analysis and projections, and I've been pretty much on point.
okay, you have $2.1 million from licenses and permits. And you're talking about charge for services, an increase of $1.6 million. Where that increase is coming from?
That's sanitation increase.
Yes.
Okay. You're talking about instead of the $21
Yeah,
gonna
the
charge.
28, the 28, the 29.
Okay, you're using it
Right,
to
right.
balance the budget.
Yes.
Okay.
A little over $1 million.
Okay, let's see, for example, something happen, right? Solemia doesn't move forward, then we don't have the University of Miami, meaning what? We are $2.1 million behind to balance our budget.
Well, what
Look-
Those are prediction, right?
Yes,
In order to balance the budget, you present a budget with 44% increase in our licenses and permits, right? If for some reason there's a hurricane and now or nothing built, That's when you're gonna have
Yeah,
another.
we would have an issue, but we would be able to, I guess in the moment, start addressing it at that
Right.
point.
You will
As-
have if that doesn't happen in 2020, we will increase our deficit.
Not necessarily. If we get to January of next year, and our forecast is showing that money's not coming in, we'll have to make it in the
Right.
moment change to our operations
Right.
to adjust to whatever that revenue deficit
For the
is.
past 3 years, last year, you anticipate that we were going to close the deal at Solemia. The money did not come in, and that's why we were
We had
able to
$3
talk
million
about that
deficit.
budget deficit.
Correct.
But you didn't do what you just said
Be-
that you are going to do.
Because, sir, in the case of that particular transaction, we were actively negotiating and waiting for them to close. I have tons of communications from them all the way up to the last day where they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna close, we're gonna close." They even gave they sent me the option. So in that case, you're right. We didn't make an adjustment, but again, I thought through the fiscal year that was coming in, just based on what we were doing. In a
As
case
of
like-
today, you still didn't do the adjustment because that money did not come in.
I have it's not included in here.
I'm talking about in the 2019, 18-19
We're-
budget,
we're
you
ex-
didn't do the adjustment.
Yeah, we have done an operating adjustment. We're expecting to end this year on budget.
What do you mean on budget? Explain. I don't know.
You guys approved the budget. It's
When
there.
you did the budget, in order to balance it, you anticipated that we were going to get 18, 19.
Yeah, 2018 budget.
That budget, that current budget,
The
No.
current budget that we're in right now is on the paper. It's a operating budget of 69.5 million. We're expected to run at that budget, right as of right now today.
yeah, but when you did present the budget last year,
Right.
you used that money.
No, that money's not in this budget. That was the year before.
I'm not talking about this one.
I know,
But
that was in the year before.
What?
What you're referring to happened the year before.
17, 18, not 18, 19.
No.
No. We're in 18-19 right now.
I know, but you did not balance.
No.
You did not add that money in the 2018-19 budget. It's
No.
not in there.
It's not there.
Okay. Okay, you're telling me this budget will be the 44% increase that you talked about is only for license and permit, or a total of 44%?
No, it's only for licenses and permits.
Okay.
And that includes occupational licenses, the different types of building permits for plumbing, electrical, mechanical, inspection fees.
A quick question, okay? If you anticipate that we're going to have an increase of 44% for licenses and permits, and what was the last time you see an increase of 44% in licenses and permits in the previous budget? Because we didn't have nothing on the site. And they were able to build two buildings plus
That's the
Costco
money
and
that's here.
everything.
Yeah.
Was it for what year?
So you see, if you look at the graphic, you see we had a substantial increase from fiscal 2016 to 2017.
The $1.7 million?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's when,
That's when they permitted those buildings.
okay. You talked about Westport in your presentation, and I didn't, I don't remember I get that. What was the mention, what did you mention about Westport?
So we had our internal auditor, Mr. Brunson, has conducted an audit of the franchise fees collections from WastePro, and he has identified $1.8 million that we're owed and we're demanding from
What it is?
The franchise fee, we were underpaid over 3 years, so we're requesting to collect the money.
Explain me, I don't understand. Repeat it. For
Waste Pro should have
Waste-
been paying us money, they weren't paying
That
it
they
to
did,
us.
How
they
much?
not,
How
they,
much?
they shorted us 1.8 million.
A question. They owe the city $1.8 million.
That is correct.
Throughout what period? From
Going back 3 years.
okay, that's been from 16 to 19, or from 15 to 18.
16 to 18.
16 to 18. They owe the city $1.8 million, right?
That is correct.
And you put the whole thing in the budget
Yes.
to balance
Well,
it.
it's a charge. It's in. Is that in charges for services, Rosalind?
Yeah,
Is it? Is
Did
that in
you-
charges for services? The franchise fee?
the $1.8 million.
Oh no.
That
It's in miscellaneous. Yes, so it's in there.
that's when you're gonna use that one. You use that $1.8 million number to balance the budget,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Are we gonna collect it?
Yeah.
And how do you plan to collect that one lump sum money in 1 year?
Well,
A demand letter to
yes.
the vendor,
Okay, let's see.
because they
I'm
remember
not gonna
they,
give them tools.
No,
so
no.
I'm,
keep in mind they collected the revenue. They charged
we,
the customers.
we understand.
Okay, all right.
We understand why. That's mean. When did you realize that?
When the auditor literally just issued the audit report, he had been working on it last 4 or 5 months. So we got the final.
Who up here got the report?
It should have been distributed by my staff. So
When?
maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Is anyone up the report
Which report?
It's the actual audit
Oh,
report.
the audit? No.
from
not yet.
Westport that?
No,
It's not from Waste Pro, it's
From
from-
Bronson.
it's from Brunson.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about franchise fee from Westport, $1.8 million. Scott did nothing. That's when
No,
you
no,
have the report.
I knew it, I just
You
didn't.
knew
yeah.
it, but you
I
don't have the actual
report.
report. Okay,
Well, I don't
we
have
know.
it right
Okay.
now, but.
I didn't know
Okay.
about that either.
Okay, and the finance.
The report was issued last week, so we have
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's actually on my desk. We got the packet last week.
What
So-
you gonna do with it?
No, we'll distribute it to the council because it's made to the council and management.
How come we don't have it?
I asked my staff to give you a copy of it.
Okay. When are you planning on moving forward and request that $1.8 million in order for you to present a budget where in good faith you know that you're going to receive that and they're committed to issue that check for $1.8 million?
I mean, it's an ongoing process. They are currently aware that they owe us the money.
Okay.
So what if we get the money before the end of September 30th?
It's fine. It's, remember that we're going back into the cash versus allocation discussion. So once we receive it, we can appropriate it and use it in a future budget.
But then we have to take it out of the budget.
Say that again?
Then we have to take it out of the budget.
No,
If
you
we've
don't.
already received
No,
You
it.
can
no,
roll
no.
over the money
yeah,
to the
yeah.
next
It's not
fiscal year.
receivable if we have it, right? if
You are confusing accounting with budget. When we get money, we have it in the bank, you guys can allocate it as you see fit. That's what you're doing in the budget. Doesn't matter the timing of the receipt of the cash.
Okay.
Okay, and $1.8 million. You're thinking on adding $1 million to the reserve in order to cut the deficit, right?
Yeah, to reduce it by $1 million.
what are the major change you are going to do instead of just, not just, we're talking about major cut?
Yes.
Like, give me some example of
Well,
major cuts you anticipate.
so right
to do.
now, we don't have the detail of it. What we've done is we've figured out what the number is. That number is 5.6 million. We have done a numerical exercise, if you will, to prorated on a prorated basis, assign a dollar amount to each department based on their fiscal allocation in the budget. And we'll have to go the next 2 weeks. Actually, they're due next Wednesday. Is it next Wednesday? Next Thursday. We've asked each of the department directors to go into their budget and identify the cuts for that match to their number. So as part of that report, they're also going to talk to me about, okay, if we cut X, what is that? What is the impact, the service impact? My commitment is, and it was in my memo to you, we will do these cuts, but we will maintain service levels. So-
But if you let that in the end of directors, you know what's going to happen. They're
What's
not going
gonna
to cut staff. They're going to cut service.
Well, like I just said to you on the record, I am committed to not impacting service levels because one of the priorities that you all identified in the retreat is that you want us to be customer and constituent focused. So that's what we're going to be.
Are you planning on reducing the administration staff?
Yes, there will be some administrative reductions that we're already looking at.
In terms of percentage, do you have an idea?
I don't have the number right now, sir.
The calculation of $1 million is based on that?
The
Also?
the calculation of the $1 million is based on the total of everything. So additional revenues, it's the net. It's just we knew we had to put something in the budget against the deficit, and so we started with a goal of $1 million.
In your plan to balance the budget, you anticipate a reduction of $1.4 million reduction from the pension fund?
It's already there.
Based on what?
The actuarial report of our payment that we have to make on October 1st.
I don't know.
So every year our pension actuary does an analysis to determine what our pension payment's going to be for the upcoming fiscal year.
Mhm.
They've already done that, and the ERIP and all that stuff is now flushed out of the plan. So as a result, on one of our plans, the payment next year has gone down by 1.4 million. So that's already realized.
Are you telling me that the ERP system work or?
No, I'm just
No?
saying the
Oh.
financial impact to our payment
Mhm.
has run its course.
Okay.
Not
That's
that
mean-
the ERIP worked.
And you
Most
use
of them don't
It
work.
depends on your point of view.
I wanna. Okay, that's when the $1.4 million is
Reduction in the pension payment
Okay, this
is
one,
there.
that one you already have.
We already got it. It's already in the bank, if you will.
Okay. You stated that you're planning on reducing the administration, make it smaller, right?
Yes, we will
Did-
we'll be doing that. You know, I think you're looking for a number. Or I don't have that right now, because it will be strategic. You know,
Okay.
you know, we'll go through my office, everybody's office, to go through and see if there's we will have to have those reductions. But again, my commitment is not to affect service levels.
Okay, and at go ahead.
Real question. When you say service, what do you mean? Because I like that
What
word.
happened?
No, he said service, so I want to know what service.
So- It's everything. Police service,
No, not the
sanitation
police. We know.
service,
Customer service.
Oh,
customer service, you know, like, I don't want to impact our constituents' experience when they deal with the city. So I'm not going to be cutting the swimming program, if you will.
No, that's
I won't be eliminating summer camp,
I
know,
got you.
those-
So the
those that-
front line,
the
the
front
people
line
who deal with the
services.
public, we're not touching.
We're not touching.
Okay, we got you. Okay, I'm on board with that. Okay.
We're not gonna cut service. Yes. People are gonna have the same amount of service. And at the retreat, we talked about affordable housing. And based on the survey done by the Florida International University, they make some recommendations, and I ask you to include that in the budget as an aggressive plan to deal with affordable housing or workforce housing in the city. And when you outlined the budget, I didn't see anything about addressing that issue.
So the sources that we are looking into right now are not general fund sources. We have our $1 million of HUD allocation that we already use towards it. I'm working with the CRA director to actually set aside $1.5 million on the CRA side, which we know we are legally required to do housing by our interlocal. So based on the increase in revenue we had this year, I've allocated $1.5 million for affordable housing in the CRA budget. And then I know you and I talked about a very large number. You'd like to be closer to 3 million. We'll have to kind of juggle it up. But it is in the total budget packages that you will approve, there is significant dollars towards affordable housing.
You will have a
Yeah.
line item for addressing
Yeah.
affordable
Yeah.
housing and all the policies that you're gonna put in place
Correct.
for the year.
Well, we won't know the projects per se. You'll have the dollar allocation.
Yeah. Another question, people talking about events. Will you have a line item in the budget explaining exactly what we are going to spend on events, every single of them?
Yes, sir. Based
All the
on
official ones.
Yes. Based on my conversation with you and your colleagues that are sitting with you, we will do a very detailed event with a specific budget attached to it, and that will be a schedule that'll be in the budget book.
And secondly, I think Vice Mayor Carol Keys talked about it, about the discretionary fund, and said it like any events over $5,000. I would like to see a bigger resolution throughout the city. Any events over $5,000 need to be voted by mayor and council.
Okay.
That's when it's not just discretionary, it's across the board. And
Well, and do you consider, so when you have the budget, when we present you with the budget, and you're gonna have a detail of events in that budget, and it'll say,
if you tell me 100,000 for 150,000 for Beer Fest, and it's stated in the budget 150,000 for Beer Fest,
you consider,
I don't need.
right,
I don't
you
need
consider,
it.
that was my question. You consider
Exactly.
that approved?
Anything, any
Okay,
line
I got
item
you.
in the budget stated $4,000 for 4th of July.
Right.
This for Haitian Heritage Month, or
got
this
you.
one, we don't need anything
we're-
for
we're
that
on-
because we're gonna be voted on it.
Right.
But anything was not in there
there.
specifically stated that, and we need the resolution
like we discussed,
that.
to
And
bring that item before.
I remember last year I asked you, for example, do we have Tropical Night? You say, yeah, is in the budget,
Yes,
but there is nowhere to find that.
I got you.
But this year I would like
I
to
will have a
see
schedule.
whatever it is, we can see it, because you don't tell me you put 300,000 for something miscellaneous in the budget, and after that, when I ask you where the money is coming from, you said this is where it was. We need details and everything
Okay.
in the budget when it comes to event and things like that. And for discretionary fund, discretionary is discretionary. Unless if we committed to reduce that or eliminate that, I don't mind. But if we're gonna call it discretionary, you have to to say discretionary, and I don't think we need another council approval for any expenses from the discretionary fund. I don't know what my colleagues think about discretionary fund, and I'm always in budget. That's mean I never bypass I always have money in my budget when it comes to, I don't want to specify. That's mean I always have money in my discretionary fund for expenses.
Well,
That's mean it's just a proposal. I received a letter about some homeowners association and asking me to, if I want to commit it to eliminate the discretionary. Let me state it, first of all, we just had an election. It was not a part of the question that the constituent asking me, or it was just a few. But I don't mind if, for transparency, for whatever you want to call it, if a majority on the council feel like we should eliminate that, I don't have any problem with that. That's
Mr. Mayor, if you may
yes,
allow
sir,
me.
go ahead.
I received the same email, and I told the manager respectfully, I don't have any issues with it. It is what it is. Anybody can spend it as they see fit to their own particular. If you want to do sidewalk, go ahead. And if you want us to approve it, which I don't really care because it's called discretionary, that's on you. And every receipt or every organization, and I think staff does check something because it's giving the impression that we are giving money to illegal organization, or which is not fair. And it's I'm a little tired of it. If you don't give money because you don't have those folks coming to you, that's fine. But if you have organization that's coming to other council members and asking for something, and you want to demonize or talk about the nature of it, there's guidelines. I don't think I have ever given past 5,000, or maybe once or twice I did, and then you told me we have a guideline, let's do under 5,000. It's usually 1 or 2,000 or 500 there, and most of it I give to the educational board. I gave almost $7,500 to the on the Give Day Miami. I'm going after Miguel, trying to get match from giving to the everybody give. It is what it is. I used to give to homeowners. I used to give a little amount, whatever the case is. But it is what it is. Other cities use it for whatever. And I'm with the mayor, if we want to eliminate it, that's fine. Like I said, everything was on the table. But don't talk about $70,000 that somebody's giving it to organization, where you could see which organization they do. And these are organizations in the community that's serving the kids, the elderly, or the poor. If you want to question them, that's fine. But let's talk about everything else. Don't talk about one item like the discretionary, like the $70,000 is what make us with the $8 million budget. That's really, really unfair. It only started 3 years ago. My thing with it, if they want to give more, I'll take more. I'm okay with the 70. If we want to reduce it collectively, I'm okay with that also.
We not have 70. Let's
20
make it.
20
We
is
not
for
we
trees.
not have
The
70.
20s, the 20 for
20.
well, however 50, however, yes, sir. But that's my
I think
humble opinion
I don't know. I asked the administration to bring a plan on not just administrative regulation on how to spend the discretionary. I would like to bring something for mayor and council to vote on, because you're gonna have. Because the point it's administrative things.
So right now it's an administrative reg, but I can just bring that as an ordinance.
Yeah, because that's to know
resolution,
exactly what can be done, or if we want to reduce that. And also, Mr. Attorney, I have a question for you. And based on our code, right, any residents who feel that, can they deny them on the agenda?
No.
Like a group of residents?
No.
Did he say that somewhere in
The right to be heard, Citizens Bill of Rights, I think. But
no item? I'm not talking about the budget.
No.
Like when propose a resolution to mayor and council, no? Okay.
Yeah, but he's talking about,
Okay.
anyone could do that.
First of all, I
They
thought
can't
that.
get on the
Okay,
they can't
okay.
get on the agenda just on their own. No.
Okay, first of all, I talked about the resolution for the $5,000. Any event over $5,000 need to be approved by mayor and council, not just any events, non-budgeted event. Any event who doesn't have a line item on the budget, because you can put 300 for miscellaneous, and after that you tell me, okay, the money was there for that. Anything was not specified in the budget. When you came about if you, okay, oh no, I'll discuss that another way with you. That's when you are telling me that when it comes to affordable housing, it's gonna be from the CRA, the fund.
Special revenue, and then CRA.
But did we vote on that?
You're going to.
No, did we vote on the allocation already?
No.
For
No,
odd?
well, no. So the HUD, yes, the HUD. You approve the
breakdown.
The breakdown, yes.
Yeah. That's when it's only a few $100,000, about 300 or 200 something for housing. No, I'm talking about for only housing.
No, we have. Remember, we have a SHIP and CDBG and.
No, I'm talking about only for housing repair and elderly, helping the elderly. Okay.
Is that considered, Mr. Mayor, affordable housing? No.
Housing.
Housing is housing, right?
No, when you're looking at the plan and the so-called affordable housing, it's a lot of, it's more than, it's a combination.
Correct.
It's like, as a matter of fact, we realize that the city is way ahead of that affordable housing by all those beautification, home repair, that those money we've been spending years and years. It's actually a part of affordable housing because the aging property of the city, it's over 60 years old. By doing so, we are addressing affordable housing that's been upgrade those properties. People won't be able to afford, as far as roof, windows, and things like that. And I would like to see an aggressive plan addressing that. And that's why I was asking you to put a plan together and see how can we find $3-4 million to address that. And
just added $1 million.
To add new units, new affordable units in the city.
You know, you just added $1 million, right?
Huh?
$1 million?
You just added $1 million. You said 3 or 4 now.
No.
Scott will be okay if we have anything from Solemia after he get his park, his center, and the rest of the money, if there is anything, can be added to address affordable housing and see how many new units can we build.
Yeah,
you are gonna say
I was going to say, for instance, we don't currently collect a developer fee and direct that toward
impact
affordable
fee
housing.
for it.
Right, so maybe we add a new level of income that then can go toward affordable housing.
Yeah, we're looking at fees that can be development-related fees that can be dedicated to affordable housing. So that's part of the in the
plan that's
going
to be presented to us. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, now I just remember one of the line items that we discussed. No, it's important because it's in line because we talk about housing, the sprinkler system program. That's very, very important because as I looked at these numbers, the home property value throughout the city has increased a little bit, and especially the market is not doing too well. So investing in beautifying these homes does help us throughout the city.
And it's incorporated in our overall housing
okay,
plan.
I'm just so
that specifically,
as part of that, please,
yeah.
You know, we need to get that program going. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, but yes, ma'am.
I just want to bring up, and something's really come to my attention this week, but, you know, we're talking about making homes beautiful and affordable. We have a lot of residents in our city that are really badly in need of just life issues, health issues. We've got people, we've got seniors, we've got disabled that are living in their homes without air conditioning. Because I visited one this week, and we have, there's a lot. We have people kind of preying on these people and taking advantage. But I would, rather than making a house beautiful, I would like to go inside, and if our seniors and disabled and really lower income are living without air conditioning, impact windows are nice, they're a luxury. I lived in a house for years without it. But if they've got the roof and it's leaking and it's getting mold, I would like to see us putting funds to really help the most affected, get them their air conditioner, get the roofs fixed before we make other people's houses beautiful. It's so important. We've got seniors who are just living on a little tiny Social Security, living by themselves, and we have a lot of people like that. So
I totally agree.
we need
Go
to
ahead,
help
go
that.
ahead.
No, I was going to say I totally agree, Vice Mayor. I was told, Marie, I don't know if we could, the AC thing, but that's critical because there's tons of them. I'm just based on the guideline, Mr. Manager, that I think the HUD guideline, there's certain things that we can't do from what I was told, and AC was one of them. I would definitely entertain any idea, but I don't think we need to make it any less because I don't think we need to minimize the beautification because the beautification is what's going to make the home value go up. The AC does help a little bit, but there's a system to what we doing. We're helping them out, but at the same time, we got revenue coming back to us. Eventually, that's going to make the neighborhood, the whole thing.
Yeah, you have
but
tax increase and all those things.
Yes,
but
I
I
agree with
asked, I think I already asked the administration in the home beautification program, especially in the city guideline. I understand when it comes to odd, we have to respect
That's
the
what I was
federal
gonna say.
guideline. But in the city part, and I asked the housing department already to add AC, to add that in our city guideline. I think it's already there. I don't know if the house,
Marie.
yeah.
Marie.
But
Marie.
if it's not in, we've been asking. Okay. We've been going. What Vice Mayor Keys just talked about central AC for seniors. And
At the very least,
in
wall
our
units in
policy,
bedrooms.
like the home beautification program, can you increase, or is it there already?
The home beautification, no, it doesn't have that as part of the criteria, but you also have to understand installing an AC unit, central air also entails installing new windows and upgrade the electrical system. Because if you install new AC and the electrical or windows, the air is going out, it defeat the purpose. And if you touch the AC, the electrical is already outdated. You have to upgrade the electrical prior to install the AC. It's not just AC only
And what
when you
about a-
consider AC.
What about a window unit in a bedroom, just so people can sleep in air conditioning?
Window unit is not up to code. Maybe we can consider wall unit
Wall units.
A split.
or
Okay.
split.
Split units.
Okay.
Split?
Yeah.
What they call
Because
split?
it's the same thing that when we eliminate kitchen, that's when if we have to do a kitchen, we have to
You have to
looking
touch
at
the
the
plumbing.
plumbing.
Yes.
That's why we say no more kitchen because we don't want to touch the plumbing. It's a lot of money to upgrade that, and especially for those 40 years
Home.
home certification when it comes to electricity, it's a lot of money to upgrade the system before we can put the central AC.
Yeah, because once you walk into a property touching the AC, you have a lot of things that you have to take into consideration.
Can you do an exception for in the city program to add AC units? Let's say you have a 65 years old.
Wall units, yeah,
Person.
just like we said, wall units, we may consider that when you're doing a new housing guideline
Okay.
for the beautifications.
With the same line as what the mayor was asking, so with the split unit, that would be something that it would not be part of.
So a split
Huh.
unit is, if you've
Yeah.
ever seen it, it's, I usually see them when I travel out of the country. The AC unit sits up high, but there's still a compressor that's attached to
Outside.
the outside of the building.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a smaller compressor. so that those units
So
can
you don't
cool
touch
up.
the
Well, no, yeah, you still have to do the electrical.
Electrical
but
and
it's
everything
not,
else.
It's not, you don't have to do the duct work. and all
The
that
the whole
stuff.
thing.
So we could investigate if, because I like the line, the vice mayor and the mayor's going, that's definitely something that's very, pleasing to me, because, this is really, really shows a service. So that's something that we could think
Add.
about. We could
We can
think
add,
about.
we can
Right.
add it to our city
No,
guidelines.
we already have guideline for when it comes to home beautification in the home program. We just
That
got
would
to
be part
add
of
that
it.
component inside that
Split
policy.
system plus
Yes.
windows,
Yeah.
because we cannot just give them AC
Within
without
that room,
windows.
though, within that room or throughout the house.
Where if you're doing the split and then you consider one bedroom, you can go ahead with that, but you
Okay.
need to change the windows as well.
I'm saying the windows in that room, though. Because I'm looking at, my thing is the cost, and then the more the better. That's what I'm saying. So not to the whole house. You're talking about where the unit is.
Yes, because the
yeah.
air will,
I got
will
you.
just go
escape.
away.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, because I have.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I think, Vice Mayor Keys talked about Turkey. We spend $30,000 in Turkey.
We could spend 10 and give everybody a turkey.
If you're gonna cut it from the beer fest, some people don't want the beer fest. Cut the beer fest, and it's there's things
Get
that
with 30,000. I mean, how many do you get with the 30,000? The turkeys.
A lot of turkeys. The problem is when we have 4 different events, everybody comes to each event and gets a turkey. Whereas when we did it with you,
yeah,
this,
yeah.
like
Go
the
ahead.
first year we did it, and we combine it, then everybody goes out, everybody gets a nice turkey for Thanksgiving. I think it's a great thing. Everybody gets one, no problem. But when you
30.
have 3, 4 different events, those same people line up and 4 times. We don't have to give people 4. I think if we do one nice city event, we do it, we just give it out, and people are happy. And
Just so you, I think, because I
and-
did
and-
it
and
one
we
year
use
with
staff
you.
once. I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't know if that was something that we needed to discuss here, because you and we've done event. I think we knew that what was the issue in the past,
I just
which
brought
I
it-
don't think we have that issue
I just brought
anymore.
it up last year and bringing it up again.
No, well, last year I don't know.
But
I don't
know
even think I we
turkey
did an event.
distribution is
It's,
important
yeah,
for
it's-
me. I don't know for
It's important.
it's important for.
But it's-
I'll just remind everybody, I've been up here for 20 plus years. I've never had a turkey drive or backpack giveaway.
Yes, because
That's,
your
your-
folks, Scott, does not need it.
yeah.
And
My
then you know what
folks-
happens?
My
Listen,
folks are
listen.
west of Biscayne Boulevard.
And you know
need
what
to
they do? They
stop
come
that.
to ours, and
Oh,
and
but
sometimes no, because sometimes I usually
know-
fight,
Yeah.
but sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
You know, they
I'm
from
just-
Center Court,
I
they
was-
come. What do? I give them a turkey. They
Right.
come for the book bag drive. They bring the kids.
Right.
I give them one because they say I don't have them. And I said that's okay. Because Ms. Brown, the line be way around. If you pass by, it'll be like I'm like, wait, I know all these
Okay,
people. that's
Anybody
looking
who
for.
thinks there's a shot in hell of us cutting back events, just throw that idea out right now. It's not happening.
What event?
Those
Wait.
in the room know who I was speaking to and know what I'm speaking about. Those
Wh-
people that are haranguing this council to cut back on the number of events that we do, it is not happening.
What's not happening?
We are not cutting back on the number of events.
That's
that
what we are doing. There's no events. That's what I said. We need to specify that in the budget, and people will see the budget, and you're gonna vote on it. That's when if you vote for the budget, you vote for those events. We say specify, no miscellaneous items, no nothing. If you're gonna have tropical night, you put it clearly tropical night. If Councilman Galvin vote for the budget, you vote for the item also. That's what we need to specify, because last year when I asked for tropical night, I said yes, it's in the budget, but there's nowhere to identify that in the budget. But for some reason, Arthur Sorry put it in miscellaneous thing, I don't know, and he said yes, it's there. But this year we want it to be.
I haven't
Oh,
been
you
a
wasn't
bu- I
budget
haven't been a
director.
budget
Oh,
director
sorry.
for 4 years. so-
Sorry, but okay, I forgot that. But we need to, if we're gonna have something, we need to specify that clearly. Beer Fest, we're gonna spend $150,000 for about $500 people. 90% doesn't live in the city. You put that
I'll
clearly.
motion that we cut Beer Fest and move that money to affordable housing.
Okay, that's mean you already, okay, that's mean
I think we have a contract. I don't think you can just throw it out.
any contract, I think any contract have a clause where within 30 days we can cancel that. Yes, please. Because me, I don't have events. I don't know. When they're talking about events, they're not talking about me.
I would dare FIU.
I don't know if they're
challenge
talking
us
about
and
Scott,
say that
but they're
Beer
not
Fest
talking
is-
about me because I don't have events in the city. Like Soirée en Rose, that may be the event people are talking about. It's funded not just by the city. That's when they're talking about event, they're not talking about me. I want that to be clear.
So they
to
talking about
everyone.
me. They
No,
are
no,
talking
no,
about
no,
me,
no.
and I'm okay
Because
with it.
No,
Bring it
and
on.
I'm not
Bring it on.
over
It's all
budgeted.
good.
I'm-
No. They
We-
talk
we-
about me, and that's
No,
fine.
I
We
want
had
to.
someone else in the previous budget that also.
Me and the mayor. So the mayor's gone, so it's all me. So bring it all the
No, I
events
just
and
wanna
everything.
make
That's
sure.
fine. No, that's fine, Mr. Mayor.
Thank-
no,
No,
bring it
I want to
on.
make sure
No.
because
Can we move to
like
adjourn?
discretionary.
This is
Yes.
the thing.
I move to
Because-
adjourn this meeting. This is just
Yes,
veered off
it's
the
getting-
tracks.
Absolutely.
But
because
that's
it
why
was
we
just
have
one
we
thing
have
and
in
it
the
went from
workshop
events, so
because
that's fine.
there is thing that the residents are
We're-
sending
We're gonna
emails.
hash this out twice in September. I guarantee you that everything we're talking about tonight, we're gonna talk about
Bob
again. then.
Pichon, Bob sent me an email on behalf of the Homeowners Association about the discretionary, right? So, as the president of the homeowner, I answer you. If your council member wanna when something on the dais, I'm for it.
I'll move what they want is the elimination of all events. They've asked that. They've sent the letter. I'll move right now. All events be canceled except for 4th of July and Thanksgiving for 1 year.
Everything, let's cancel everything.
Thank-
I don't care. 4th of
Thank you.
July, whatever, that I'm with. So let's be
Then
fair.
all events are canceled. No 4th of July. No Thanksgiving.
Good.
Good.
That I'm for. No. That I'm for. If we're doing that, let's do that. Let's be fair. Let's not select which event that we like or which we don't. Let's cancel all of them, which I mentioned at the.
All events are off.
Okay, if we have that, let's
all
do
events.
that.
I'm
No
not
turkey
in.
drives.
Let's
No
do that.
backpack drives.
I
no
do
4th
not
of
care
July.
for none
No
of them.
Thanksgiving.
Let's do that.
Nothing.
None.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's get back to being grown ups in the room.
No,
That's
we're not voting.
possible.
We're just
Councilwoman,
entertaining the
please don't
residents.
lecture on who's a
That's
grown
not-
up and who's not a grown up.
We're not
Please don't
voting
choose
on
that word.
nothing. Please, we're not voting. We just that's why we invite the residents so we can discuss and we can give the administration guidelines and our thought on what we would like to see in the budget. That's been, and also we are receiving letters and from homeowners association. It's look like there is something that the East want it, but the West don't want it. When in reality, everybody want it. They just don't want to stay it. That's mean, let's bring it clearly, and let's discuss that.
I don't mind the events. I think if we do it and we budget them and we stick
Okay.
and we stick to the budget, we've got no problem.
Okay.
I just think we went way overboard.
We just want everybody to take responsibility for the vote and the action. Don't sit behind and send someone said no, and then in the meantime, and
What are you referencing, Mr. Mayor?
eh?
What are you referencing? I don't
I'm
follow.
talking about two residents. Some residents send me emails or texts or things that they want to see, like things they don't want to see. It's look like in the west side, in the east side, they want this, and everybody in the east side want that, but it's us from the west side, we don't want it, when in reality, let's put everything on the table and let's discuss that as a growing up person. Like for events, let's bring all the events together. I'm going to take responsibility for the events that I sponsor, that I want to see in the city. Everybody bring it and we vote, and the resident can know exactly. Mayor Bien-Aimé is responsible for that one. Scott is responsible for this one, and everybody's responsible. Now when you're addressing and us here, you know exactly who you're talking to, because people are sitting behind things and said, okay, I want this, I don't want to see this. It's like today, you want this because it's in your favor, and next year you don't want it because it's against your will, and let's be clear and
I would second Councilman Galvin, no events, so there won't be nobody bringing nothing.
That's not what
it'll
we
be
said.
clear.
We said
No,
events. We
I
need to
think that would be-
specify
no,
every
Council-
single
Mr.
event
Mayor, I
and
think-
who's behind it.
Yeah, but
That's
the
what I
who's
want.
behind you? 1 minute we talk about, oh, it's one city, and then the next meeting,
We
this,
know-
so no
you
library,
know
no
there's-
MOCA, none of that, none of that. So let's just, so in the budget, we will have so you don't even have to bring your, no, I understand, no, this is still
Train
part
is
of
just
the
gonna roll off the track and
budget.
down the hill for another 20
Exactly,
minutes.
because I don't know how we got into from that, they think, no,
Now,
because
the
I
budget
think,
workship is ongoing, Larry.
Yeah.
Honest to God. If you guys don't think that haven't had this fight at our retreat, we have hashed it out. So residents, you're seeing exactly what we've said to each other behind closed doors, because it was a public retreat. But there is a fundamental difference on this council on what are considered to be necessary events and what are considered to be unnecessary events. And what this council thinks may not be what the residents think. That's why there's an election.
That's what we said. When the budget, put everything in the budget, and you're gonna see it. Like me, Tropical Night, for example, every second Friday of the month, we used to do Tropical Night, and in the plaza, we spent close to $1 million and renovated the plaza. The same way we have Jazz at Mocha, I would like to see Tropical Night.
there won't be that
That's
either.
me, and I'm behind that.
I think all of it.
No, what-
I'm still by what I'm
No,
saying.
the way
Mr.
that
Mayor.
I'm talking about,
I know,
it's like
but
I would like to see that.
I think I'm trying
And
to be
when
with.
a resident
be in
call
consensus
me
with them,
and
let's cut it
discuss
all
that
up.
with me,
That's why I
yes,
am.
I can answer a question about it. We would like to have a list of events.
And Mr. Mayor, I think that question, if we want to unite the city and all this, let's just do it and
What do you mean
stop.
unite the
No,
city?
because no, it
Make
gets
it-
to you
we-
because
we cannot-
it gets
you
to a
cannot-
level where it's a BS because you're getting emails all this event. So cut all the events and let's bring a budget. Let's put that money back in there. If we want to look at discretionary, let's do that. Because to me, having a town hall meeting, they calling it an event. I could do that and get a sponsor, so that's fine. If they calling me meeting with my constituent an event, that's fine. We don't even have to do that with the city funds. So let's cut all events, and we're not gonna pick. Oh well, this one is good because this one is celebrate this, and that. No, we calling it event, and let's be fair. And I'm trying to be as fair as we can so that
That's fine.
everyone. What I'm saying is, for a year, if that would work, my proposal is stop all the event, no MOCA, none of that. Now programming, I understand that's a little different, and that's the library. But other than that, any event, none of that. Let's just cut it all out, and then let's see. So now, guess what? They'll have another complaint, and we'll deal with that complaint as they come.
No, what
Because
we
I
said-
said it before from the first meeting, and the answers still come up. Oh, we have this event. We have this event. So you know what? Hell with it. Cut all events and let's be done with it, and let's move on to other issues because we got to balance this budget and this and this and that. So let them so that all that email, y'all don't have to send me no emails because I ain't replying to it. So let's talk about real stuff. So
You're
no
gonna
events.
reply.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just letting them know. So no events for me, and I'm with Councilman Galvin and Councilman Woman Keys with this one. Whatever the case is, let's be fair. And I know Councilwoman, you because you get to a point where you get tired of it, and I'm up to that point. So, Mr. Manager, I'm asking you, any budget with that, I will not be voting for it. So let's just do with what he's suggesting, cut it for a year, and if we want to do that, because both of us will be on here at the same time, we'll leave it at the same time, we could reconsider it. No turkey, no nothing. So no event. If that's what they consider a turkey, that's fine. And I'll just go on the radio and say, this is what the council decided to do. We just won't have it this year. What we could do, we could go out and try to see if we get some sponsors to do what we do. That's fine.
not what we say.
No, that's my proposal.
No,
Because
what
I am,
the direction
I'm just saying-
that we give the city manager, we don't want him to make decision on which event to approve. First of all, a resolution gonna come before us. Any event over $5,000, we're gonna pass a resolution. We need to bring it before council, right?
But, Mr. Mayor, we said that at the workshop. Obviously, that was not, it's a point, that's my point. We said at the workshop, we all were okay with it. It keep
Which
on
workshop
coming.
you talking?
The workshop that we had.
The
So
retreat.
The retreat, okay.
the retreat that we had. So this, I honestly, I'm thinking that that's the only way, Mr. Mayor, And as much as, let's just do a year. Let's see what happens. Whatever that money is, we'll put it wherever that you see fit, because you got a lot to cut, Mr. Manager. So apply that to that, but let's just be fair across the board and take it from there.
But not everything. Like,
Yeah, why not? I mean, how we saying? But if
I don't
we
want to
being
cut
fair,
everything, but I
that's the
just want to
problem.
bring it on the table.
Oh,
The resident can get to see it. That's what I said.
they can see it
Like
now.
you're going to talk about Mocha, we would like
They
to
will
see.
still say it's.
I want Mocha.
But, oh my God, unbelievable.
Those are the
Thank
things
you.
that.
Move to
Are
adjourn.
we, are we
Second.
done? You sure? Huh?